suburbs. Metronet will connect communities, connect people and job and training opportunities, and deliver affordable transport options for Western Australians long into the future. We've embarked on a significant program of upgrading our public hospitals across our suburbs and our regional towns. The new Women's and Babies Hospital is fully funded and ready to be built, and the foundations are now there for WA's next major port and a new desalination plant to serve our state for the next 100 years and beyond. Plus so much more. I've loved the role. I've loved being able to deliver on our agenda for the benefit of our state. I've loved the challenge of solving problems, making decisions, getting outcomes, and helping people. But the truth is, I'm tired, extremely tired. In fact, I'm exhausted. The role of political leadership doesn't stop. It's relentless. It comes with huge responsibility that is all-consuming each and every day. And combined with the COVID years, it's taken it out of me. I'm convinced WA Labor can win and will win the next election in 2025. But I just don't have the energy or drive that's required to continue in the role as Premier, or to fight that election, which would have been my 8th election as a Member of Parliament. This job is like no other. After 7 elections across nearly 3 decades, now is the right time to step away from the job that I have loved. Therefore, I'll be resigning as Premier and Member for Rockingham. This week will be my final week. It's not a decision I've taken lightly. I've been considering it for quite a while, but I needed to hand down the state budget before I made a final decision. In taking this step, I know 2 things. WA is stronger and more successful than ever before, and the government has a great team and can very, very easily replace me. I'd just like to acknowledge and thank a few people before I take some questions from you. To all my ministerial and caucus colleagues, thank you for the support over nearly 3 decades. The Cabinet team I leave behind is full of quality, experience and energy, ready to take the state forward. To my staff, can I pass on my deepest thanks and gratitude, especially my Chiefs of Staff as Premier, Guy Houston and Daniel Pastorelli, both brilliant people. To the West Australian branch of the Australian Labor Party, its members and affiliated unions, thank you. All of us in public life are nothing without the party and its members and supporters. I'll be forever grateful and very loyal. I am honoured to have led the WA Labor Party for as long as I have. To the WA public sector, its workers and leaders, thank you. The global pandemic that was COVID-19 forced us to change how we would normally govern. The dedicated efforts of leaders in the WA public sector played a significant role in WA's world-leading response and management. So thank you very much. To the business community who have worked collaboratively with my government and helped make our economy as strong as it is today, thank you. To my political opponents, past and present, thank you for your contribution. People who take on a role in public life are taking on a responsibility that is deserving of our respect. To my family, can I pass on my love and thanks? Being Premier takes a huge toll on your family life. No one can do this job without the support and understanding of their family. To my wife Sarah and our 3 children, Samuel, Alexander and Amelia, thank you for everything over so many hard years. To Sarah's parents, Gwen and Neil, and her late brother Dean, thank you. To my mother and father, Dennis and Mary and Dennis, and my brother Michael, thank you so very much. To the people of this great state, thank you. Wherever you live or whatever you do or however you vote, thank you. It's been an absolute privilege to serve as the 30th Premier of Western Australia. I'm so grateful. I'll take some questions.
Premier, was there a light bulb moment? I know you said you've been considering it for a while, but was there something specific?
Thanks, Jeff. Look, it sort of builds up over time. I didn't want to, I sort of worked out I didn't want to fight the next election. And so the next election is what, away or so? So therefore, at what point in time do I leave? And I wanted to give my successor, whoever that is, the opportunity to cement themselves and create their own way and their own agenda. And enough time to bed themselves in. As I said, I've basically, that was a long statement, but I've basically been in public life in one way or another for 30 years. So it's been the vast majority of my working life. And you get, anyone who does the same job for 30 years, as you will understand, would maybe get tired and maybe look to the future. So yeah, 3 years as a Rockingham City Councillor, and I'm very grateful for that, Deputy Mayor, and then 27 years basically as an MP, and in that time I've never been a backbencher. So it's full on. Premier, I mean, it's a great job. It's beyond anything I could ever have imagined would happen to me. I mean, I grew up, my mum and dad and my brother were wonderful. I grew up in little country towns in northern New South Wales, and the idea that you'd one day become the Premier of Western Australia was so far removed from my thinking that it was just, I might as well become an astronaut. It's so ridiculous, the idea. But it happened to me, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And the state's been wonderful to me, and the people here are just so sweet and so wonderful. But I'm just exhausted by it.
And the family aspects of it, you mentioned the fact that you've missed out on a lot of that. Is that some sort of guilt that you want to try and make up for? Is that how you'll be spending your time now, a lot of family time?
Yeah, I don't know if I put it that way. No, it's not that way. It's just, you do spend a lot of time away, but a lot of people do. When I was in the Navy, I used to stand on the wharf because I was, I was never posted to a ship, but I'd stand on the wharf and the men and women on the ships would sail away for 6 months. 6 months. My life's nothing like that. Nowhere near as difficult. And there's a lot of people in FIFO or industry or whatever it might be who have much tougher lives than me, but you basically, when you do the same thing and you do it for a long period of time, you sometimes get tired of it. You get tired. Not tired of it, tired. So, I need to recognise that. And because I didn't want to fight the next election, even though, as I said, I'm confident that we'd be successful, I had to pick a time, and we just passed the state budget. A lot of things have been done. Now's as good a time as any.
Can you provide us any further detail on the timeline of this decision and what's next?
I'll leave Parliament and leave the role by the end of this week. It's then up to my colleagues to select my replacement, and I'm sure they've got lots of great people to choose from, as you can see. In terms of what next for me, I'm going to have a break. So I'm going to have a break for a while. I don't know what else I'll do. I don't want to finish work completely. Once I'm rested and recuperated, I'll look for something else to do.
And did you come to this decision earlier this year in the lead up to the budget, or?
Yeah, it was a few months ago, but I had to do the budget. You might recall I went to China and a few things like that. But I sort of made that decision, and that was about a matter of timing, whether I did it in the middle of the year or at the end of the year. But once you make a decision in your head, it's hard to then hold out, implementing it. And I wanted to also make sure that my successor has enough time to embed and understand the role. And, they're very experienced, all the people around me, very experienced ministers and so forth. But being the Premier, it's sort of got that 7 day a week, every waking hour aspect to it. And so, it takes a little while to understand that and to get yourself used to it and make sure that you're prepared for what may come.
Do you have a preference for who succeeds you as Premier and member for Rockingham?
I'm sorry, mate.
Do you have a preference for who succeeds you as Premier?
I'll leave that to my colleagues, and I'll leave that to the party.
You say that you're tired, you're burnt out. From our perspective, that doesn't. I've not seen any of that in the lead up. Where has that kind of been manifesting in your life? Like, how long has that been kind of dragging on you?
Well, I'm glad you didn't see it. I'm very pleased. It shows that I've hidden it well. Sleepless nights. Excess worry about things. The COVID experience, that basically 3 years of every day standing here or wherever it might be, having to deal with all that and all the pressure that was associated with that drained me a lot. But just being the Premier drains you. I'll tell you something, I'm not naturally a combative person. I don't think I'm naturally a combative person. I'm not naturally confrontational. But every day I have to engage in argument and debate and confrontation in one way or another. And I'm kind of tired of it. So that's political life. If you don't want to do that, don't get into politics. And so I'm tired of that endless confrontation and the endless, being frustrated about things or issues or whatever it might be. So it's probably better for me now that I say farewell before I start showing it.
What words would you use to describe that almost 30 years? Like, how do you reflect back?
How would I describe it? It's been wonderful. Wonderful. I was interested in politics as a kid. I liked reading the newspaper. My dad in particular was a strong Labor supporter. Even though we grew up in small businesses, he was he always had an idea of being fair to everyone. My dad, and he was always really strong on that, and really talked about past political leaders, in particular, Gough Whitlam and Bob Hawke and people like that. So I had the interest as a young guy. As it turned out, I never actually expected it to amount to anything, but it did, and I'm very grateful for that. I couldn't have imagined anything better. It's just been a wonderful experience. Done the best I can. I'm pretty much spent now, so I'll hand over to someone else.
How do you think you'll be remembered? How do you want to be remembered?
Well, that's for others, really. Others decide that. I'm not leaving with any regrets. I mean, there's obviously things I'd like to see through. I'd like to open some of the, new rail lines, and I'd like to see the passing of some of our legislative reform. I was talking to the Cabinet this morning, the equal opportunities laws and the gun laws and the planning laws and a whole range of other social reforms that will make the state stronger and better. But I'll be able to see it. I just won't be at the press conference, that's all. So those things are good. How do you want to be seen? I suppose as an achiever would be the main thing. Someone who made the state stronger and better.
You often hear that someone's legacy is for others to decide. Are there any achievements that you look to specifically as ones that you would like to be remembered as legacy of your political career?
Probably the ones I read out to you in my opening statement. There's so many things you do in political life. I was a minister. You probably don't remember, James, but I was a minister back in the 2000s and did lots of things in the education and racing gaming and environment portfolios. I was minister for 3.5 years back then. And now as Premier, the government's done lots of good things. I just wanted to leave the state better than I found it. That's all I wanted to do. And do good things along the way. Because politics is about doing good things. If you can do good things, if you can make life better, if you can fix future problems, if you can use your skills and abilities to improve the place for the long term, because we should think long term, well then that's a good thing. I'm very proud of the, I think I'm kind of known more for economic things, all the things in terms of, the public finances and economic activity and all that sort of thing. I think that's something I'm kind of known for. I'm actually very proud of some of the environmental things. Like it's going to be 5 million additional hectares in national and marine parks by the end of this term, and not cutting down forests anymore. Very proud of that. Proud of some of the social things. We did this scheme. I was thinking about it this morning. We did this scheme to ensure that a foster child gets supported to the age of 21. Previously, they were only supported to the age of 18, so no, their family.